Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Lemnisk podcast, where we speak with industry leading marketing experts and practitioners about all things marketing, data, and technology. I'm Subra Krishnan, your host and the co founder and CEO of Lemnisk. I'm super excited today to be speaking with Abhishek Gupta from Edelweiss Life Insurance. Abhishek is currently the Chief Marketing and Customer Experience Officer of Edelweiss Life Insurance. As the chief brand champion, Abhishek manages the reputation of the company by promoting its diverse and innovative range of product offerings and services. Abhishek has been with the Edelweiss Group for 8+ years, with a career experience spanning 24 years. He's worked actually with multiple brands in several sectors over the years: the mobile store, Walmart India, Spencer Retail, ICICI Bank, and Shoppers Stop. An engineer with a postgraduate degree in marketing, Abhishek is widely recognized as one of the most outstanding marketing professionals in the industry, and has won numerous awards, including most recently winning the CMO Transformation Award at the Pitch CMO Awards 2023. And of course, the Financial Express Visionary Leader recognition as well at the Modern BFSI Summit 2023. He regularly speaks at international and national conferences and services, and serves as a guest faculty at reputed management institutes in India. Abhishek, a very, very, very warm welcome to you, and thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Subra. And thank you for beginning this podcast by embarrassing me.
No. I think Abhishek. I mean, of course, we know each other for nearly a decade now, and I think of course, we all of us in the industry know you as somebody with an outstanding track record in marketing. So I'm really, really delighted that we're able to have this conversation and sort of distill it into hopefully something that all marketers can learn from. So really, thank you for your time. Right.
Look forward to our discussion.
Yeah. So Abhishek, let's it would be great to kickstart our discussion today by just picking your brains on the industry first, the life insurance industry itself, because I think we know that in the last 1.5, 2 years, this industry is also going through a lot of shifts, changes, transformations, both from an industry regulatory perspective, as well as I would say post COVID, also from an overall digital shift, and a lot of these things are happening, right? So, what would be your assessment of the current state of the life insurance industry itself? And from there, if you could also maybe touch upon emerging trends or shifts that you're seeing in customer behavior that you think is particularly relevant for people to understand, would be great to just get your perspective on that as we get started.
Okay, so I'll start by giving a perspective of the life insurance industry in India. And before I do that, life insurance as a category, as a financial instrument, as let's take it financial instrument, forms the basic. If you look at that the entire your savings and investment is a pyramid, life insurance always forms the basic of the pyramid or the base of that pyramid. Once you protect yourself, it is only then you start building on what you have and growing what you have.
Yeah.
But you need to protect what you have.
Yes.
And you need to ensure or create or be ready for an eventuality in case the main earning person is not there. So, but pyramid continues to grow.
Yeah.
Under that scenario, life insurance forms the basic of financial planning.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm using the word unfortunately in a very balanced and probably guarded manner. Most of the Indians and most of all of us, including us, we don't see it that way. Okay, insurance is typically seen as something that you would not like to buy. Decision regarding buying seems to get procrastinated, and inherent sense of mistrust in the person who's selling insurance to you. Okay, all of this actually combined to this becoming a product which ideally should have been a pull product because it is the basic of your financial planning. These 3-4 factors have converted this into a completely push product.
Yeah.
It has come to that scenario that many times if we get a call and somebody saying that I want to buy a life insurance, sometimes that's our antenna goes up. Why is this person proactively calling and asking for insurance? Kuch to garbad hai. It has come to that stage.
Yeah.
So nobody actually gets up in the morning and say, I will buy life insurance today.
Yeah.
A normal person will buy life insurance only and at a very broad level only under two distinct scenarios. First scenario, which is the most common one, is when you get approached by a life insurance advisor. This advisor could be a life insurance agent. This advisor could be a RM of the bank where you have visited. This person could be somebody that you know and is in your fraternity, is also an insurance agent. This could be a broker. This could be anybody. This could be your financial planner also. But you will buy life insurance on the first scenario is when you get approached.
Yeah.
The second scenario where some bit of pull works is if there is a trigger in your life.
Yeah.
That trigger is divided into again two parts. One is when there's a trigger regarding responsibility.
Yes. Invariably.
Either one gets married or when the first kid or when the kid starts going to school or to the college. All of these are actually kind of life altering moments in everybody's lives.
Yeah.
So that is the time you realize that probably I need to start planning because I have people who are dependent on me. My income continuity is very important, whether I'm there or not there. So these kind of thoughts start coming to your mind. And the second part of this trigger is when some eventuality happens in your circle.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Friends, family, acquaintances, relatives, you realize that's the time. So only these two broad scenarios somebody buys life insurance. So that's from the demand side. If I look at the supply side, there are 26 plus life insurance companies in the country. The industry is very broadly divided in two parts. One is LIC, which is a public life insurance company or a government-owned life insurance company, and second is private, what is called as a private life insurance industry.
Yes.
So everybody else is private, only LIC is what? So it's LIC versus private.
Yeah.
The life insurance industry was privatized around 2000 and around year 2000.
Yeah, I remember around that time.
It's around 23, 24 years. So even after being private insurance industry being around for 23, 24 years, LIC still commands lion's market share in this business. If I look at a new year premium and if I look at last month's figure, close to 35 to 40% of new business is taken by LIC. And if I look at the total premium, which is new premium plus the renewals, LIC will have a 50 plus market share.
Yeah.
So the market is extremely polarized. And if I look at the further polarization, the top 3 or 4 private life insurance industries will take 50% of what is left.
Yes.
So you can do the maths on the back of an envelope and figure out so extremely polarized industry, extremely competitive, something that the customer doesn't want to buy, customer procrastinates, and therefore it's an extremely push product. And therefore industry relies heavily on the distributor. The person who's selling, that person becomes extremely important for buying insurance. This is an overview of the life insurance space in the country.
Yeah.
If I just look at this thing, India still has a huge protection gap. When I say protection gap is the what should be ideal cover and what is available. There's a huge protection gap.
Yeah, in fact, I was going to mention that underinsurance is also another big problem in this whole.
So in fact, there are two parts to it. One is the insurance penetration, which while is less. I think it's close to 4% of GDP. But the main problem is not the penetration. The main problem is underinsurance.
Yes.
We buy insurance and then what we realize is ultimately what is insurance? Insurance is your income replacement.
Yes.
That in case I am not there, my income should continue, my family should continue to get the same lifestyle that we are used to, and anything that I've planned for future, that should happen. It's an income replacement. What we don't, so we buy insurance and we said, okay, I've got a good income replacement product. What we don't realize is as we move up in life, our income goes up. As our income goes up, our insurance does not upgrade. So you have bought insurance many years back at an income which was that many years back, but as your income has moved up, your dreams have moved up, your plans have actually been much more now aggressive, but your insurance still is what it was 10 years ago, and therefore you have not upgraded your insurance. And even while you had bought, it was still not enough. Most of the people get 50 to 60% of the coverage that they should have actually. So what happens is the bigger problem is under insurance. So that is one. Now coming to the second part that you had asked about the shift in the consumer behavior or this. Normally, consumers' behaviors, and you also know, consumer behaviors don't change they don't fluctuate very widely or they don't change very drastically. Yeah. Unless and until something happens, something drastic happens, like a war or like anything.
For COVID. Yeah.
we had something.
Yes.
So we had something that there was COVID.
Yes.
COVID, COVID happened, and COVID is hopefully we'll have seen this once in a lifetime. I'm again saying hopefully. Uh, these kind of incidents when happen, they actually end up making a dramatic shift in the behavior of the consumers. So when COVID had hit, we actually started to think what has changed. And at that point of time in 2021, we realized there are 7 ways in which our customers have changed.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll probably quickly dwell upon them one by one. First, when we were holed up in our houses, there's only one entity which was with us, which was our families. So we realized, and we this thing that the realization that family is extremely important.
Yeah.
That came back. You were living in a world, we all were living in a world where the world was becoming individualistic. You were living in your own space, in your own digital world. But suddenly you realize the importance of the family. The family became very important. That was the first trend we observed. That was the shift that was happening. The second thing, which was again linked to COVID, was you realize that you have to fend for yourself. अगर आप बीमार भी पड़े हो, there's nobody can come. Even if somebody wants, you are not allowed to come, or you don't want to come because you might get infected. So self-reliance, that I have to fend for myself, that tendency started coming in. I only have my family and nobody else. So I have to ensure that I am self-reliant. That was the second thing that we started observing. The third thing we started observing was, which works very well for our industry, because people have seen, let me call that at a rainy day, the tendency to save or invest went up. So a lot of money, which was probably would have diverted towards expenses, got moved into financialization. The tendency got up, and hopefully that keeps up. With this, and the fourth thing is that you started to treasure things that money can't buy. Small things. And in spite of having so much money, many people actually did not get the required medical attention. Yes. We realized. So therefore, small things like time with the family, those thoda has liye, thoda ji liye, those small things, people started to treasure things money can't buy. Which actually, from a marketer's point of view, does very well for storytelling. Yes. It does very well for storytelling. We also see an increase in people becoming more socially responsible. You suddenly realize that yes, while we are self-reliant, we are upon ourselves, but we also have to think of others. People went out, people arranged medicines for people they do not know. So people started becoming more socially responsible. That was the fifth trend we observed. The sixth one that we observed was there was something that you cannot even see, and that has brought the world to a standstill. And suddenly we realized that we are not as invincible as we thought. That increased sense of vulnerability that creeped in. And again, I am looking from a marketer's angle. I see whenever there's an increased sense of vulnerability, that augurs very well for our product. Yes. The moment you start thinking that you are vulnerable, you start planning for it. So that increased sense of vulnerability. And the last thing I would think, which again is good for insurance industry as a whole, not direct impact on life insurance, but a very heavy impact on general insurance. Health became your priority. We suddenly have people focusing on immunity, becoming healthy, living a healthy lifestyle. Yes. These are the big, broad 7 trends we observed, changes. But as I said, that one event can change. The other part is also true, is inherently we do not change. So we are back to where we were pre-COVID eras. We are back to living the same lifestyle. We are back on splurging. We are back. So, those shifts happen. Probably it would have been some minor shift that has happened, but overall we'll still go back to where we were in 2020. So that is my reading to it.
No, this is very insightful, Abhishek, because I think, I've obviously spoken to a ton of experts on COVID and its impact on digital and consumer behavior. I must say I've also spoken to a lot of life insurance experts on post COVID. But I think this is probably the first time I'm seeing a very concise 7-point framework as to what exactly changed in the consumer mind. And therefore, as you rightly pointed out, what does it mean for a marketer? Right? If you are able to boil it down to these exact 7 things, as you rightly pointed out, you will be able to take it and exploit it in the right way to sort of drive demand for the product. So it's fantastic, right? So uh, and on that note, I think maybe if we shift to the marketing domain a little bit, two questions here. One, of course, is, and again, I must leverage on your experience first before going into something specific. You've also been somebody that spent a ton of time in customer experience and marketing in general. So I would love to sort of understand, how, if you look at the last 2 decades or so, what do you think has fundamentally changed in marketing, and what do you think has remained the same? I would love to hear that, and then come back to this topic of post-COVID, emphasis on insurance, and sort of pick it from a customer experience perspective. But I would love to get your broader perspective first.
Okay, so probably I'll start with a caveat and probably a disclaimer. I am by heart what you call as a traditional marketing guy. Okay, there are some basics that I go by. And you will understand why I'm saying that. So when we were studying marketing, and even when I had just started my career, there was a very famous saying in marketing, which used to say that we know 50% of the marketing works.
Yeah, we just don't know
Only don't know which 50%.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Now my point of view here it is that उस समय हम लोग बड़ा खुश होते थे, ये sentence we used to quote this. Actually, this is a disservice that we did to ourselves as marketeers and to the entire industry. And the reason I'm saying we did a disservice is we never contested this statement. And when you don't contest this statement, that starts becoming a reality. If a lie is repeated 100 times, that lie suddenly starts looking like a truth, right?
Looking at truth, yeah.
So we did not contest it. And therefore, gradually, marketing started to being seen as an expense. As an expense whose ROI is not attributable. If you have done advertising, उसकी वजह से सेल कितना बढ़ा, अगर आप एडवर्टाइजिंग नहीं करते तो वो सेल बढ़ता नहीं बढ़ता. We did not do anything to go or probably do some work in that direction. So that was the one angle. Now this was the traditional marketing days when you didn't have digital. Then started coming digital. Okay, and now we are in an era where every money that is spent is measured in terms of how many clicks it got, how many leads it got, how many conversions it got, and everything. And we are proudly saying that everything is measurable. We can measure everything. Nothing wrong in that, but we actually are adding one more angle to it. We are saying everything is measurable in the immediacy. आज कितना click आया, आज कितना business हुआ, आज कितने customer आया, आज मेरे lead funnel कितने हैं. That is it. Now today, again, we as marketers are again doing a disservice by not contesting this. We were at this end earlier and we say we don't know what works. Now we are saying we know everything that works. And everything in right now. What I think we all should take into mind that brand gets built over a period of time.
Yes. Very, very, very valid point.
Okay. And whatever you do, there'll always be two parts. One will obviously move towards giving some immediate results, but some part of it will also go towards in building brand for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
We seem to have completely forgotten that.
Yes.
And therefore you will see in the quality of the communication which is coming out these days.
Yes.
There's hardly any thought. You don't remember memorable campaigns now. You only remember what you saw so many years earlier.
Yeah.
Why? Because everything is clickbait.
So even the attribution models, Abhishek, like for example, I always argue with marketers who use last click attribution that you're completely ignoring the overall experience created leading up to that click conversion. It's always been my gripe that why are you not looking at the funnel as a whole, right?
Problem here, because that problem started when that expense was not factored in or expense was not attributed to.
Yes.
We came to a situation where we had to fight for money. And you have to fight for money, then you will actually, if you have to fight for money, you show result. And you have to show result, you have to show result in that P&L.
That period of time, yeah.
So that is my view on how marketing has evolved. I think as an industry, as the fraternity, we have to create a voice and says brands get built over a period of time. What you do will give you not duplicacy, but dual kind of results.
Yes.
Long term and short term. Yes. We all need to put our minds together. How do we measure the long term? While yes, marketers say that we will measure awareness, we will measure consideration, we will measure other factors. Somehow these things as awareness and consideration somehow don't find too many consumers outside of marketing boardroom. Everybody else से क्या होता है?
Yeah.
awareness से क्या हो गया ये वो. So I think we need to create our own story over here. कि what does exactly do? So that is one part.
Yeah.
How I have seen marketing getting evolved. In terms of consumer experience, I think where we have come, and there I see there has been a lot of work that has been done, and a lot of progress that I have seen and happening. So we moved from probably just selling a product. Then from selling a product, we moved to selling a product plus offer service. Then we started measuring that service. Then we started measuring सिर्फ service से कुछ नहीं होता है, delight.
Yes.
Now we have come to an era where we have said that it's not service or delight, it's the experience you are offering to the
Absolutely.
customer during the full journey that the customer has been with you, because customer actually interacts at multiple times at multiple, let me call it a function of the organizations.
Yes.
So how wholesome and how uniform, wholesome is fine, but how uniform experience has been. I think there has been done a lot of progress, and that's something what is excites me these days, that there is so much to be done in experience,
Yeah.
because a good customer experience actually ends up building a good brand for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think there it's actually a perfect segue into what I really wanted to touch upon with you next, Abhishek, which is again at the intersection of what you just said, which is how do you create that kind of memorable experience? And I think the one thing that always comes to mind in this day and age, with all of the tools and technology available, is personalization, right? So I think would love to sort of get your sense on how critical do you see something like personalization being in the overall experience that you just spoke of across the entire kind of touch point ecosystem that the consumer brings, right? That's one half. But the more important angle there, especially in the regulated industry like insurance, is how do you do that while sort of taking care and being super sensitive to privacy regulations? I would love to understand what are your thoughts, best practices, or any kind of frameworks you have. Would be great to really understand that.
So, when we talk about personalization, number one, as a basic humans, we all love to be addressed by our name and things to be kept according to us. You walk into a Taj hotel, and if it's a second or third visit, most of the time they will address you by name and everything, and you start liking it. So personalization definitely is something that creates a very warmth towards the particular brand.
Yeah.
While advantages are many, it's very difficult to do. It is very difficult to do, especially in an industry where there is a low touch industry. So hotel is a high touch industry where you actually experience the hotel throughout your stay.
Yeah.
So extremely high touch whenever I say. Our industry is an extremely low touch. When I say low touch, once you buy an insurance product, you will come back to insurers only to renew your policy, which most of the time is once a year, or when you're filing your tax returns and you need the certificate,
Yeah.
which is also once a year,
Yeah.
right? So for us, what do we have to do is we have to create opportunities.
Yes.
Customer is not going to, there's no natural behavior for customer to come to us. Okay. So we have to create opportunities. So what we do is we start creating, or we start inventing occasions. And I'll tell you what do I mean by inventing occasions. And there a bit of personalization comes. And almost every entire industry does it, which is called as a policy anniversary date. I'm just giving an example. It is the date on which you bought the policy. So your policy anniversary date is different from my policy anniversary date because we have bought on different dates.
Yeah.
But I'll make it feel as an insurer that it's a very special day because it's a day that you decided to protect you and your family. And it's your policy anniversary date. So that's a day that we have created. It's a bit of personalization, but it is also a bit, it has come from my inherent need to go back to customer. नहीं तो customize तो मुझे भूल गया है.
Yes. Yes.
When the reminder comes to pay a premium, then only customer remembers me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, normal things like birthdays, anniversaries, and this thing, we do festivals. Thankfully, we stay in a country, we come from a country which has plethora of festivals across all religions.
Yes.
That gives me ample opportunities to go back to consumers and wish them for the festivals.
Got it.
So there are a lot of opportunities. So that is, I'm a bit digressing over there, but that is how we try to personalize it. But as far as experience is concerned, we have a lot of data that is available with us. Because when you buy a policy, I will have taken a lot of information about you, your family, And if you have decided to buy a product which entails a medical test, I have a fair bit of knowledge about your health also.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, where the industry is lacking now is how do I enrich this data? And when I say enrich, I just don't mean enriching in terms of where do you eat, what are your social media habits, which I'm not capturing in the first aid. I don't mean enriching by that. Customer buys our product for a longer period of time, 20 years. So when customer bought a policy, probably he was just married. Over a period of time, the kids have come in. Currently, I have no way
Yeah. Of
to
knowing.
figure that out where this
Yes.
customer actually life stage has changed.
Yeah.
Because the moment life stage changes, I have a different product that I can go back to customers. So then what we try to do is we try to go back to customers to enrich this data. Now enrich this data, and therefore I will again going back to my caveat that said I'm a traditional marketer. I believe a lot of enrichment will happen in a face-to-face interaction and human-to-human interaction because insurance is an advisory-led business. If I'm asking you to pay me 1 lakh rupees a year and pay that for next 10, 12 years, okay, you will not be convinced like that so easily. I have to sit with you, explain the product, which cannot happen digitally, which cannot. Let me give you a data point with all the advent digital sales moving forward. You come from a fraternity which actually pushes a lot of digital solutions and everything forward. Digital sales contribute to 8% of the industry's business currently.
It's a well-known number now. Yeah.
It's not more than that. So that means 92% of sales are happening when somebody is intermediary between the insurer and the customer. And this intermediary is very important because we discussed that why the intermediary is very important because customer doesn't want to buy. So I rely a lot on this intermediary to help me to enrich the data. A lot of focus is on the intermediary. So what I do a two-step personalization. When I say a two-step personalization, as customer has a choice of going with any of the 26, 27 life insurance companies, so does this intermediary. This intermediary can also go and sell any of these 26, 27 companies to the customer. So I have to personalize my offering to the customer and I have to personalize my offering to the intermediary. So I actually create a lot of solutions for this intermediary. So if Subra is my intermediary, one of my largest intermediary, I will create personalized solutions for Subra. Which Subra can use those solutions and go to customers. As if Subra is offering those products to the customers, Edelweiss Life is just a facilitator in between. So a lot of personalization effort actually for us is done at the intermediary or the distributor's end. We create personalized videos, personalized collaterals in the name of the advisor, in the name of the customer that can be given. So that's where a lot of personalization for us comes in. Once we get data about the customer, about the enrichment, we are then able to offer personalized solutions to the customer. Let me give you an example. While we will discuss, I hope we'll discuss about it later. We have a digital solution called U Unlimited. It is essentially nothing but an advisory tool. If I am an advisor and I come to you, I will ask you about your requirements first. And basis that, this tool recommends a product. But what it does also, many times the product that is recommended based on your current needs is fairly expensive for you at that stage and you might not want to buy the full product or you not want to buy to that extent. मैंने बोला आपके के लिए आपको 2 लाख का प्रीमियम चाहिए. You said 2 लाख तो अभी मैं नहीं दे सकता. Let me take 1 lakh rupees right now. So my tool will tell you, okay, 1 lakh product, but your requirement is 50% covered right now. Your 50% are still uninsured, let me call it just for simplicity of this discussion. So in my data, I know your 50% is still uninsured. So at a later stage, I can again go back to you that at that time you have 50% insured. Why don't you try out this product? Your income would have gone up so that your gap gets covered. So that we are able to it is personalized to the customer according to the life stage that the customer is into. So their digital solutions really help us, really help us because we can create these solutions digitally and we can actually deploy them en masse.
And I think going back to your earlier point, it also allows you to maintain and break the once a year kind of relationship mode.
Yes.
Because now that you have that additional data point about, let's say, 50% coverage, you could potentially use that to check in now and then on the
Yes.
client as well,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Got it. I think this is sort of also because I was reading some of your interviews and some of your video interviews that you've done, and I think this is probably what you meant when you said that marketing will become more insight led, because brands will try to gain a deeper insight into the psyche of their customers to improve
Yes,
relevance,
yes,
right?
yes.
So I think this goes to the psyche of connecting everything that you've said so far in a post-COVID world. You start with the 7 big changes that have happened. Use that to potentially drive initial need for the product. Use the advisor and arm the advisor with additional information, additional personalization tools, and then simultaneously gain deeper understanding of the client and try to sort of stay close to them, stay engaged with them on an ongoing basis, right?
Absolutely. Everything starts with customer. Everything
Everything,
starts with customer.
everything. Yeah, yeah. No, this is fantastic. I think just the overall framework of how you've laid this whole thing out, I think is super insightful. Everybody to understand, I would say, and I think all the listeners, I must say, can, of course, while Abhishek has been speaking from a life insurance perspective, you can definitely sort of take this and apply the same framework in sort of your respective industries as well. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Um, just shifting gears a little bit, I will come back to you, Unlimited, because I would love to understand,
Yes.
what Edelweiss Life Insurance is up to.
I
But
have an interesting thing about it. We'll discuss it later. Yes.
yes, yes, I'll just come to that towards the end.
Sure.
But I think no conversation with any marketing leader today, least of all with somebody like you who has a very strong point of view on all things marketing, would be complete without actually talking of AI, right? So when you think of AI, especially Gen AI, LLM models that have sort of really exploded onto the scene in the last 18 months or so, how have what is your kind of framework to really understand this kind of big shift that seems to be happening? And especially, again, maybe you could touch upon any ethical considerations that you might have, keeping in mind the nature of the product, right? So would love to get that first from you.
So, a good marketing person is also a good business person. Marketing में मुझे while it is important to need to understand the customer, it is also important to understand my P&L. Where is the my bread and butter coming from? Right? It is very important. So I need to understand the sales funnel very well. Okay, and I'll come to that why I'm saying that, and I'll bring in the AI perspective to this. So therefore, a marketer needs to be a very good business person. You need to understand where sales is happening. You need to understand where leakages are happening. You need to understand where frauds are happening. I'm talking specifically to a financial industry because we are prone to a lot of frauds in this thing.
But
So
of
a
course, yeah.
marketer is always a good business person. He needs to have a full overview of the entire business. Now, what we have been doing is AI को हम लोग we have been talking only with respect to marketing, but AI is actually, it's especially what I've seen till now in our industry. AI has got fantastic use cases in other parts of the business. Let me give you a couple of examples. We were talking about renewal premiums. A customer agrees to pay us for a period of 10, 12, or whatever is the premium payment term. Right? If the customer does not pay me, I have lost a huge amount of money because all my expenses in acquiring these customers are front ended.
Yeah.
I have paid money in getting the customer. I have paid commission to the distributor. I have done a lot of back end processes and everything. Medical karaya, ye karaya. So I have actually first year premium does not cover it. I have
Yeah.
actually, so it is very important for me, for my P&L, that the customer keeps on paying me.
Yes. Yes.
Now, what happens is in this industry, the 13th month premium, we measure the persistency on the uh, first month after the end of the year. So 13th month, 25th month, 37th month, 49th month, that's how we measure. Industry 13th month persistency is between 85 to 90 or 80 to 85. That means 15-20% of the customers don't renew their policy, do not renew their policy. Our premiums models are built in assuming a certain level of persistency, that certain level of customers will drop back. But I need to ensure that I am actually trying to get money from most of my customers, right? Earlier, I had to do a lot of efforts and equal amount of efforts in all customers to ensure. So that means अगर आपका पेमेंट आने वाला है तो एक महीना पहले आपको एसएमएस जाएगा, फिर एक कॉल जाएगा, So सबके लिए effort was used to be the same. What AI has done is, because we have data of customers and this thing, we now have a cohort. We now know from a cohort that which are the customers who are likely to lapse.
Yeah.
So what I do is I do disproportionate efforts to the customer who have a higher propensity to lapse, and that is done by my AI modeling.
Yes.
Right? So extremely important, adds to the bottom line directly, but AI is the tool for it. Another part of the business is fraud. AI model throws us that this case looks like a fraud, depending upon various parameters. Once I know it is a fraud, I will go ahead and investigate it properly.
Yeah.
Earlier when I had not joined the industry, I used to think, ठीक है fraud हो गया तो क्या हुआ, आपके पास तो पैसे आ रहे हैं ना, आपको क्या मतलब, आप तो पैसे ले लो, प्रीमियम तो दे दिया. What I have realized now, this fraud has a direct correlation to the ultimate number that customers check while buying an insurance is the claim settlement ratio.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Very good point.
If customer has a fraud or claim आया, insurer does due diligence, checks for fraud and realize that the case was fraud, declines the insurance, claim settlement ratio comes down.
Yes.
Claim settlement ratio comes down, customer says अरे नहीं इसका claim settlement ratio है किसी और से लो. So it's a vicious cycle.
Yes.
So everything adds to the business directly, right? So AI helps us really over there. Third use case is, as I was telling you, these advisors, distributors are extremely important to us. But advisors also have a habit of shifting loyalties. आज उसका बेच रहे हैं, कल उधर चले जाएंगे. So my AI model keeps telling me that which are the best advisors who are likely to turn into my best advisors. So I start focusing more on them. If I know these kind of advisors not likely to stay with me, I'll do some kind of effort, but I know I'll rather focus on who are likely to stay with me, and therefore probably I'll get more bang for my buck.
Very interesting.
So there are a lot of places where actually AI is helping us in running business and running business profitably. So therefore, whenever we are talking about AI, now we should not just look at marketing. Normally, it's only about marketing that
Yeah.
gets discussed in
Temptation is there to yeah.
We should actually look at it completely wholesome business cycle.
Yes.
AI in marketing, currently we are using only for content creation. Okay, we have started experimenting with image generation, but I'm not too happy with whatever results are coming till now. I'm sure it will get better and better. But in terms of generating content, yes, AI has really helped us. And second part where AI is helping us is vernacularization. Currently, we have a capability to generate our content. When I say content, it is divided in both content for my sales guys and content for customers in 9 Indian languages. These 9 Indian languages more or less covers 80% of our target customers. So that to do at a scale, AI is really helpful to us.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. I would like to just come back to that original point, Abhishek, that you said. It's very clear that you are excited about some of the big initiatives that are happening. So I would love to understand, from your perspective as the Chief Marketing and Customer Experience Officer, what are some of the priorities, and what kind of innovations are you trying out? What really excites you? I think you spoke of You Unlimited and you want to come back some of these things. Would love to get a sense from you.
The first thing that really gets me excited is probably I'll say it over here is there insurance is a heavily crowded industry, but still there is some bit of blue ocean existing. Okay, and I'll probably dwell a little more on that blue ocean. सारी की सारी इंडस्ट्री ना कस्टमर के पीछे भाग रही, कस्टमर के लिए ये कर दो, कस्टमर के लिए वो कर दो, कस्टमर के लिए. And after spending close to 8-10 years in this industry, एक चीज very clear to me, distribution is extremely important. If you have reach, your business will happen. I'm assuming that your products will be good, your products will be competitive, everything else given. If you have the reach, business is going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, what the industry has done now, industry is doing a lip service to the distributors. Industries is not thinking, and when I say industry now, Subra, I'm actually including you and your entire fraternity also into this, who are our partners.
Yeah.
When industry or your fraternity comes to us offering solutions, they only think about customers.
Yeah.
Nobody is thinking about how we can make the life of the distributor easy.
Easy. Yeah.
How can I, or let me not coin the word that exists. But as we measure customer experience, do we actually measure distributor experience?
Yeah, very good
Do
point.
we have boardroom discussions around distributor experience? No. And for my business, distributor is the most important constituent. So that thing excites me because there's so much things to be done, so many things to be done in offering a superior distributor experience. Is so that is one thing that excites me. The second thing that excites me is customers do not understand insurance. Why does it excite me? Because there are so many solutions which are there. So I am sitting in my office right now. We are a life insurance company. Okay, life insurance company. I go out of my room, do a dipstick, and come back. 90% of the people working in a life insurance company will be underinsured.
Yeah. I fully agree with you on that.
Including both of us on this call, on this podcast. Right?
I fully agree with you on that as well.
So you see the opportunity
Yeah.
that is there. मतलब हम लोग कहते हैं इंश्योरेंस बेचना डिफिकल्ट है 27 कंपनीज हैं अरे वी आर सिटिंग ऑन अ मार्केट that is so huge, so untapped. You have to have the right product and the right way to reach out to the customers. Business की कमी नहीं. I am saying India can take another 26, we are 26, 27 life insurance company. India can take another 26, 27 life insurance companies. And we still will have a lot of market remaining. So that entire market which is available now, that is what excites me. But that is also a big challenge for me. And I'll tell you the challenge, and I'll be being very transparent and honest over here. We are a challenger brand. We are a challenger brand. कल को अगर मैं आपको पूछूंगा कि टेल मी द नेम ऑफ 3 लाइफ इंश्योरेंस कंपनी दैट यू विल कंसीडर, मेरा नाम नहीं आएगा अभी. Not there right now. So when the market is so huge now, the benefit of educating customers about insurance and creating awareness will always go to the top players. So for me, and this is what one of my distributors told me, and he told it very beautifully. मैं ऐसे पूछ रहा था क्या दिक्कत है, बोलता है सर मुझे ना डबल काम करना पड़ता है. पहले कस्टमर को कन्विंस करो इंश्योरेंस लेने के लिए, विच इटसेल्फ इज अ ह्यूज टास्क. जब कन्विंस कर लिया इंश्योरेंस लेना है, फिर उसको कन्विंस करता हूँ एडलवाइस लेने के लिए, तो मेरा टास्क डबल हो जाता है. As compared to someone who probably is selling another player which is fairly well known than us. So therefore मेरे लिए फ्रिक्शन मुझे सबसे पहले कहाँ खत्म करना है, मुझे सबसे पहले खत्म उस डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर के पास खत्म करना है, ताकि इसके लिए उसको जाके एडलवाइस नहीं बेचना पड़े. मैं उसको बोलूंगा तू इंश्योरेंस बेच, एडलवाइस मत बेच, एडलवाइस बेचने का काम मेरा है. So that is what is a challenge, and that is what is also exciting to me.
Very interesting.
And third thing, when I was talking about you too, and this is a fantastic example of how things evolve. So I was telling about U2. Okay, essentially when we started to design U2, U Unlimited, we realized कि customer से जब हमारा advisor when goes out to meet the customer, the advisor already has a product in the mind, even without meeting the customer.
Yes, I've seen that happen a lot, and it is actually one of the things that in many cases puts off people.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. So already has a product in mind कि मैं ये, okay, I'll not say that, but मैं ये customer को देकर आऊंगा, ये customer को sell करके आऊंगा. We realize that's a problem because ultimately customer should buy a product according to his or her need and his or her lifestyle and life stages. So we designed this tool and we told our advisors and we did a lot of training that कि जब customer के पास जा रहे हो, these are 4-5 sets of questions that you need to ask, and then this tool will throw out the product recommendation to you. Okay, basis that you offer this product to the customer. So number one, customer also feels there is some science going behind this. And number two is it is the product which actually customer wants or should have.
Yeah.
That was the original thinking behind the product. Very noble thinking, and I think that product does that fantastically well. The thing that got excited me was what are the other use cases that came out which we did not envisage earlier. So let me tell you first use case which came out. हमारे लिए, and I have done sales, मुझे मालूम है आप 1 तारीख को पूछो तो बोलेंगे मैं 100 रुपए करूंगा, 15 तारीख को पूछो 100 रुपए करूंगा, 20 तारीख को पूछो 100 रुपए करूंगा, 25 तारीख को पूछो शायद 90 हो जाएगा, और 30 तक आते आते वो 90-50 तक पहुंच जाता है. ओके, सो एज अ सेल्स हेड The predictability of business is fairly low for me. Unless and until I develop my internal AI model, मैं सेट कि इस महीने इतना हो जाएगा, हम सब करते हैं. Now, what this tool did for us is, because when my advisor is going and meeting the customer and generating what we call it is a journey.
Yeah.
Generating a journey for the customer.
Yeah.
Over a period of time, I have understood कि अगर इतनी journeys मेरे system में create हुई हैं, इतना मेरा business हो जाएगा.
Fantastic. No, very, very, very valid point. Very valid.
So what has happened is, from a need analysis tool, in the front end, it has become what is called as a business estimator tool for us.
Yes.
Now I'm able to fairly predict my business by 20th ki depending on the journeys that have been created, kitna ho jayega.
Yes.
Okay. This use case was never envisaged. That is the second use case. The third use case, which has this thing, is we, as I was telling you, we work in a very competitive industry. अगर किसी बैंक से टाई अप करना है, ऑलमोस्ट एवरी इंश्योरेंस कंपनी विल बी आफ्टर दैट बैंक. नाउ बैंक की सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम क्या होती है? बैंक हैज गॉट अ मिड साइज बैंक विल हैव गॉट 600-700 ब्रांचेस. बैंक नेवर नोज कि कितने कस्टमर्स को इंश्योरेंस पिच हुआ है, because the insurance pitch happens outside the bank's network, because bank's network can't handle insurance, not allowed also.
Yeah.
I do not know. Most of these are face-to-face discussions. Now I go with a white label product to the banks and say, here is my tool. Depending on the journeys that are created, you will know your branch activation. Your head office or the insurance head or the third party distribution head sitting at office can know how many branches are active, how many branches are pushing insurance, and I am offering it to you for free. Only thing is you have to tie up with me. So from a business estimator tool, this has also become a business development tool for me. Okay. Fourth use case, all of these use cases have not been envisaged when we designed the product. And I touched upon this a little earlier. If Subra has bought a product today and only 50% needs are covered, 6 months later, I can go back to Subra and says this thing. So it's a cross-sell and upsell tool, which was not in the use case earlier. And these are the use cases that we have discovered in last 1 year since the tool has been deployed. I don't know, as the tool gets deployed, how much use case that will. And so therefore, this power of these digital tools to start with something, but then ultimately metamorphose into something else is actually really exciting. So then you start looking at another use cases. Then you start looking at your other digital tools. यार ये कुछ और भी कर सकता है क्या? क्योंकि data आ रहा है. And that is what is really keeps your, actually that moves your gray cells going, that is exciting. Yes.
No, I think this is super interesting. I think just the way you started with, and I think all of this also happened because you took a consumer-centric view and decided that you have to arm the distributor first, and then you also sort of decided that you don't want to push a product, but you actually want to genuinely ask a set of questions, because I think all the use cases that you mentioned stems out of some of those crucial decisions you took, right? Because without that, it would just have been one more tool with one use case and probably not even adopted in a big way, right? Fantastic. I mean, usually I must say, Abhishek, that when I shoot this podcast, we always aim for 30 minutes or so, but I think we shot for 50 minutes and it just feels like we're just getting started. But I think it was really useful for us to understand all these frameworks. And I must say that there are 2 or 3 very strong insights here that everybody should listen to and take away and sort of apply it in their own context. So Abhishek, I think you've taken out valuable time today, and thank you very much for doing this past podcast, and really appreciate your inputs here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Subha. It was a really good discussion. I really enjoyed. I also didn't realize it's 50 minutes already.
Yeah. This time just flew. I never realized it. So
Yes.
That's a hallmark of a good conversation and
Yes.
somebody that sort of has as much insights as you do. So thank you very much, Abhishek.
Thank you. Pleasure talking to you.